Yo, Remy here. I've been playing this game a lot now, trying to improve my account and all that usual stuff. As per tradition, I fell in love with yet another blonde character of the wind element who wields a sword. Of course, this means that I wanted to do everything in my power to make this character as strong as possible. In the journey of doing so, I discovered the sad state of Ventus in Stella Sora. To start everything off, I just want to say that I'm by no means a theory crafter. For the most part, I'm just talking out of my ass based on the little time that I've played with the characters. Now let's quickly talk about all the current Ventus units in the game. First, you have Nanoha and Noya, both Ventus Vanguard DPSs, both having builds revolving around either their skill or their auto attack, both having near to nothing in terms of supportive potentials. Noya is ever so slightly better in this regard since she has a squad attack up on ult, but even then it's whatever. Meaning both are terrible as supports. Nanoha can be slightly less cringe for that role if you somehow can spam her ult that much, I guess, but again, still, even then it's whatever. As of right now, these two are basically your options for the main slot in a Ventus team. I want to add this info I just got from testing, which just makes me even more sad about trying to make Noya work. If we take a look at someone like Chitose, who is also a Vanguard DPS, we look into her more popular build, which is the auto attack build. Her core potentials adds the Coiling Serpent and Mirror Image to her attacks, and her potentials makes it so the Coiling Serpent helps further buff up Chitose's regular auto attack. Now if we take a look at either of Noya's core potentials, no matter which build you go, both of them change her attacks. Dual Strike, Chain Slash, and Blade Storm all change Noya's attacks into new moves. This makes it so that they don't scale with any of Noya's skill levels. The upside to this is for the very early game, you basically have a unit with decent multipliers to use, but the massive downside is that if you're trying to scale her up like I am, leveling her skills doesn't improve her damage, if at all, as it would if you were to level up something like Chitose's auto attack, since Chitose still uses her original auto attack multipliers. Noya already has everything going against her in terms of being a DPS, and this just makes things even hard to manage. But regardless, I'm still stubborn enough to try to make her work. Moving on to the currently invaluable Ventus support slot, Ann. In my opinion, as a support tracker, Ann is actually diabolically good at what she does. She can give various buffs to your main tracker. In some scenarios, she can even help generate energy for your main tracker. She can also debuff enemies by making them take more Ventus damage. She can also help sustaining by giving shields from her skill and ult. And if you want a bit of utility, her ult can be used to gather enemies. She's pretty much all I could ever want from the support slot, especially as a 4-star that's given for free. Ann is definitely not where the issue is, in my opinion. No, that would be the last character in the Ventus roster, Canis. Canis is a versatile Ventus tracker, filling what I call the second slot in teams. The trackers in this slot usually has some very nice supportive potentials. Sometimes they can even contribute decent damage. If we take a look at the other team's second slot, they're really good at this role. Rich gives defense downs and has decent damage of her own, especially in AoE. Frisia and Iris have wonderful buffs for the main tracker and the squad. I'm not so sure about Jinglin and Minova, all I know is that they are second slots to Shia's teams. For Casimira, I don't know what to say. I'm pretty sure Ignis and Ventus are in an equally sad spot right now. But as for Mystique, I'll talk about her more later in the video. My issue with Canis is that, as a tracker that's filling the supportive slot, she practically has very little supportive potentials, and the one that she does have are kind of lackluster when compared to the other potentials of trackers in the same slot. Like, look at this, 48% attack buff after doing a few full spins. Iris gives 79% just for standing in her field. 48% damage taken after her ring hits the enemy a few times, which admittedly you can speed up the process by going around the enemy in the opposite direction. Frisia gives 68% damage taken after a few skill explosions, which happens almost instantly. Now, technically, Canis has another additional 20% damage taken debuff when enemies are broken, but even if I were to assume this potential doesn't require Canis to be the one doing the breaking hit, it's technically still ever so slightly less than what Frisia gives on a single potential. It feels like her intended role is to constantly apply Ventus marks while doing some personal damage on the side. Personal damage wise, I really couldn't care less about it. She probably could be hitting some numbers, I wouldn't know if she could. As for applying marks, it's probably a good feature to have for Nanoha, but I'm focusing on Noya, and for the most part, it's whatever. Skill build Noya can probably trigger marks often, but for auto attack build Noya, which is my preferred build, she can barely trigger the marks anyway. Canis is just not that good compared to the other trekkers in the same role, which leads me to the sad truth that I found out when trying to build a team with Noya in it. Let's talk about that other versatile trekker that I left behind, Mystique. Mystique is a versatile Umbra trekker with a strong focus on her summons. Remember when I said usually versatile trekkers in this slot are meant to be supportive, sometimes being able to do decent damage? Well, Mystique is the direct opposite of that. She deals a buttload of damage using her summons, with a somewhat useful supportive potential to boot. Mystique deals so much damage to the point that right now, the team for Ventus and Ignis is just Mystique and Cosette in the support slots, while you run literally anyone in the main slot. And the way Mystique deals damage is also kinda really good too. When you activate her support skill, she creates a magic circle that lasts for quite a while, during which the magic circle will constantly be summoning these mini ghosts called Plantera Phantom. The Phantoms then go kamikaze towards enemies to do damage. But the thing with the Phantoms is that they last for quite a while after being summoned, and they track enemies down like heat-seeking missiles. So even if you misplace your magic circle, even if the enemies run away or whatever, the Phantoms will just waddle away towards the enemy to do damage. And if the enemy is one of those that likes to fly around, become invulnerable, the Phantoms will just sit there and wait until the enemy becomes targetable again and deal damage, or until their duration is out. Mystique's potentials makes it so the magic circle can last longer, and so it would spawn even more Phantoms during its duration, dealing even more damage. And to top it all off, she even has a potential that gives the main trekker a shield every time you cast her support skill, helping them to stay alive, which is pretty much all they need to do in this format. Just to add cherry on top to boost Mystique's prowess even more, Cosette. Cosette is an Umbra support trekker whose main role is to make enemies take more Umbra damage. She also has the potentials that buffs the squad's attack, meaning that if your main trekker has decent damage output, she can help in that regard while still buffing up Mystique, although usually in this case, Mystique will be doing the majority of the damage in the team. This pairing is so strong that you can just run them like a Swiss Army knife into any stage as long as it doesn't resist Umbra. Personally, I've used this combo in some of the stages in Cataclysm Survivor and a little bit into the Menace Arena. I know people really don't like it when it's called this team, but it's actually another team just hard carrying the first team. From what I've been looking into, Ignis and Ventus right now are just not in a good spot, especially compared to the other elements. Okay, I don't actually know what's going on with Ignis. I just heard that if you do want to run an Ignis team right now, like to blast through Menace Arena or something, you just use Flora as the main trekker, running the Umbra duo as supports. As for Ventus, I'd like to think that Nanoha is in a better spot than Noya is, but I don't really know by how much, and it's not like it's a high bar to begin with. And as for Noya herself, yes, the Umbra duo seems to be her best hope right now. But there is a silver lining. As you can probably see from the background footage that I'm using, there's a trick you can do to make Noya be able to do more damage than she should be. I was taught this trick by the people from the official Discord server, so thanks to them. She's still nowhere near any of the top tier DPS, but as someone who wants to use Noya as a proper hyper carry on her own, it is something to work with. With all that being said, this is just how it is for Ventus. We just have to wait for a proper second slot tracker to release, because Candace is just unbelievably terrible in this role. I can't wait for that day to come. I'd definitely be pulling if it means Noya can get an improvement in her team. But for now, that's about it. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, comment on your thoughts, feedback is greatly appreciated and I'll be reading through them. If you want to see more of me, consider hitting the subscribe button, it's free. I'll be doing more of these videos in the future. Now take a sip of water and have a good day.